Kel'Thas will be one of the few villains in this series who started off as a good guy, but later turned villain due to unfortunate circumstances and a few poor decisions. Kel'Thas' story starts off with Silvermoon. You see, Kel'Thas was the Prince of Silvermoon, and the king was very well loved by his people. Kel'Thas himself was also very accomplished and talented in his own right, being a member of the Council of Six in Dalaran, a very prestigious position. And Kel'Thas cared about his people, and they liked him in kind. So how does someone who starts off as such a nice guy end up as a villain? Well, that's what a lot of people asked too when the Burning Crusade expansion came out, which wasn't really properly explained until very recently with the Illidan novels and Chronicles 3. Now, let's talk about Jaina for a bit. Jaina was sent to Dalaran as a teenager and put under Antonidas as his apprentice, who was the leader of Dalaran. Kel'Thas was totally into this teenager, you know, with him being hundreds of years old at this time, so it totally makes sense, and wasn't a poorly thought out plot point bordering on fanfiction. Anyways, Kel'Thas found out that her and Arthas were dating in private, and blew up on Arthas.
How many of these fallouts are because someone stole someone else's girl? There's like 2 already. It's Illidan and now it's Kel'Thas. That is insane. Yeah, what is with... Okay, if World of Warcraft has taught me anything, it's that men need to learn how to say the word no. No, men need to learn how to take no. But actually, it's not just limited to men. We need... Okay, I want to petition Blizzard to add a female character who is also incredibly down bad for a random guy to the point where she like starts like an entire genocidal thing. They gotta make a genocidal woman who is just insanely down bad for a man's now. It has to be a thing. It's Sylvanas? Was Sylvanas like down bad? Tyrande? I don't think Tyrande was like down bad to the point where like she started like a war, right? As Shara. Okay. It's just man. No, this is a not all man situation. Women can't be bad too, guys. And that's Maeve? Is it really? Tyrande later in BFA? Oh, what? Someone wanted her mans and she was like, hell no. Is that it? Oh, she was down bad for Human Hunter when she was alive. Oh. Wait, I gotta go look at this now. How do you say his name? Nathanos Blightcaller? What a name. Let's Google it. Nathanos Blightcaller. This guy? No, this is the one who was like kind of insane for her, right? Wait. No, this guy? Really? I guess. Want to steal Malfurion from... Malfurion isn't even that hot, let's be for reals. He's kind of got like, you know, good energy, but I don't think he's that hot. Like, come on, girl. Go for Illidan, who's like way sexier.
Telling him that he should at the very least be open about their relationship and not cower at the thought of rumors like they were.
Ooh.
This, of course, upset Arthas, but he also knew Kel'Thas was 100% right, so he broke things off with Jaina, so they could both focus on their futures. Then, some years later, Arthas picked up the Frostmourne and became the Lich King, and then attacked Silvermoon to use the Sunwell to bring Kel'Thuzad back to life, killing about 90% of the elven population in the process.
Fucked up, by the way.
While all this happened, Kel'Thas was still in Dalaran. But as soon as he found out, he went home to regroup his people. Kel'Thas' dad died in the battle, which, understandably, made Kel'Thas pretty bummed out. So he announced that his dad would be the last king of the elves, and that those remaining would now be called Blood Elves. So technically, Kel'Thas was the first leader of the Blood Elves.
Ooh.
Then Kel'Thas went out to do what any leader of a country who needed to rebuild after losing a major war. He reforged his dad's sword, Fela Malorn, and sought to rekindle old allies, and to maybe find a cure for their newfound mana addiction following the destruction of the Sunwell. Tiny bit of history about the Blood Elves here, because it's very relevant to Kel'Thas' story.
Okay.
You see, the Blood Elves were founded by a section of Night Elves who didn't want to give up using arcane magic after the War of the Ancients. So they traveled halfway across the world and rebuilt a new empire around the Sunwell that they created thanks to a vial of the old Well of Eternity given to them by Illidan. The entire nation of
Our boy.
Quel'Thalas was founded over not wanting to give up that well, which was now destroyed. Anyways, then a little time later, Kael'thas runs into Tyrande and Maiev randomly and decided to help them out, since they were on a hunt to take down Illidan. During a battle with the undead, who were all over the place in this time period, Tyrande got swept away down a river after a bridge she was on collapsed. Later on, after finding Illidan, Malfurion, who had joined the party, blamed Illidan for Tyrande's death at the hands of the undead. To which Kael'thas interjected with, actually, she just got swept down a river and might still be alive. Malfurion, mad at Maiev for lying to him and for kinda being a crazy bitch, decided instead to team up with Illidan and look for Tyrande, as Illidan's Naga would be very helpful in that kind of search. And Illidan, being actually a good guy the whole time, agreed. And that was that. And Kael'thas left them to do their thing and went back to the human kingdoms in hopes of finding some support there.
What is this, like, drama backstory? What is this? This is some, like, young adult, like, romance novel bullshit. That is crazy.
And that's where Garithos comes in. Now, Garithos is a piece of garbage and super racist. He hated the elves for not being human and didn't want them to join his army.
What?
Which he was left in charge of by default. All the good generals and high-ranking political figures died after Arthas' betrayal, and he was just kind of the only high-ranking human in Lordaeron left. So he set the Blood Elves to like build bases or something while he took his human army to the front lines and fought off the undead.
What?
During this task, they accepted the help of the Naga, who came in and were like, hey, you need boats to do this and we have boats. Then again, they helped the Blood Elves after they were sent to fight a group of undead that vastly outnumbered them. Then the Naga took off and Garithos came back and said he saw them working with the Naga and said that was proof of treason because Naga are typically an evil race and locked all the Blood Elves in the dungeons of Dalaran, waiting to be executed.
The fucking audacity of this man. Who are you? Get out of here. Fuck Garithos. Oh my god, what a bitch. What an absolute fucking bitch. Oh. Man, now I'm pissed I don't even know who this man is. Fuck.
Now, if you ever wondered why the Blood Elves aren't part of the Alliance, this is why. You can blame Garithos for that, and the fact that he nearly executed all of the remaining elves. Anyways, eventually, Lady Vashj came in and freed Kael'thas and his Blood Elves from prison, and took them all to Outland to look for Illidan, who had gone missing. They eventually found Illidan being held captive by Maiev, and freed him. Kael'thas then asked Illidan if he could actually help the Blood Elves overcome their mana addiction, to which Illidan said there was no cure, but he could provide them with enough magical power that they wouldn't need to get over the addiction. So
okay, hold on. I just want to say, I think that if you want to get over an addiction, Illidan is like the absolute like worst person to ask, right? Like my brother in Christ is absolutely the worst person to ask because bro is like chugging that Mountain Dew every second of the day. So like, what the fuck? He's just gonna get you addicted to the fucking Mountain Dew. He's not gonna get you like unaddicted to like magic. He's just gonna be like, hell, have some super magic instead. That is insane. This was an L decision. This was an absolute L decision. Would you trust Illidan? No. I mean, I think he's sexy. I think he's real hot, but I mean, my guy's hopped up on that super meth, you know? He's like basically like, oh, you're addicted to Pepsi? Have Mountain Dew with like a ton of Coke in it. How does that sound? My guy. Yamete. Like, why are you like this?
Because of this, and because of how much help he got from the Naga, Kael'thas pledged himself to Illidan's service and officially joined up with him. The three of them then went off to secure a foothold in Outlands, and to that end, they needed to close off all the portals in Outland, which there were a ton of. You see, the Legion kind of took control of Outlands because it was the perfect gateway point to open portals easily. Something about the planet being destroyed by a bunch of portals being opened at once just made it a really good place for portals to open in general. And while out hunting for portals, Kael'thas came across Akama and is broken, being attacked by orcs. So Kael'thas saved Akama and learned about the Black Temple and Magtheridon, who was the leader of the demons in Outlands. Then Akama and the Broken joined the group, and Illidan led an assault on the Black Temple and captured Magtheridon.
Oh!
It was then that Kil'jaeden showed up and told Illidan to get back to Azeroth and kill the Lich King. Illidan, not wanting to upset Kil'jaeden just yet, agreed to follow the order again and went back to Azeroth with Kael'thas and the Naga, and then they went straight to Northrend. The plan was for Illidan to make it to the Frozen Throne before Arthas, and Kael'thas and his Blood Elves attacked Arthas and his forces to buy time.
Okay.
And during the assault, Kael'thas and Arthas ended up fighting each other one-on-one. Kael'thas, being an incredibly powerful mage, decided to fight Arthas in melee with his weapon Fela Malorn.
No!
Arthas thought this was a terrible idea, and went to cut him in half along with his sword like he did to his father. Turns out the sword held up though. When elven blades are reforged, they come back stronger than before, and it was actually strong enough to stand up to the Frostmourne, to Arthas' surprise. Arthas then tried to taunt him, asking him if he was mad that he stole Jaina away, to which Kael'thas replied, "Jaina loathes you, Arthas. You sicken and disgust her. Anything she felt for you has long since turned into hatred." Which, surprisingly, ended up pissing Arthas off instead, which made him attack blindly for a bit until Kael'thas was able to teleport away, after losing his blade in the battle, thinking he had bought Illidan more than enough time. But it wasn't. Arthas caught up with Illidan and then beat him in battle.
No!
Lady Vashj and Kael'thas eventually found Illidan's body and took him back to Outlands. Illidan, knowing that Kil'jaeden would be coming for them, then started to build up an army to beat him, and secretly started training his demon hunters. But Illidan also kept the demon hunters a secret from his allies, including Kael'thas. Illidan tried teaching the Blood Elves how to siphon magic from artifacts, creatures, and the environment, but it wasn't enough for them. Kael'thas eventually found out about the demon hunters and thought if they could use fel magic without falling under the Legion's sway, then so should he.
Ooh.
So he convinced Illidan to teach him how to siphon fel magic, and started out only taking tiny bits and pieces of it at a time, but then he quickly became addicted. Fel magic is powerful stuff, some of the strongest forms of magic in the Warcraft universe, and Kael'thas couldn't get enough of it, and it consumed him. Kael'thas did want to save his people, but he then started growing paranoid about them, and secretly thought they saw him as a failure. He knew he should just cut his losses in Outland and return home, but he didn't want to show up empty-handed. It was then that Kil'jaeden approached him. He told Kael'thas that there were actually better ways to siphon fel magic, and that Illidan had taught his demon hunters the more refined techniques, and kept them from Kael'thas because they were just pawns to be sacrificed in the fight with the Legion. Then he promised to show Kael'thas the real way to siphon fel magic, if he would turn on Illidan and join the Legion. To which Kael'thas was like, yeah, no way. But
Yay!
This conversation did help fuel his paranoia nonetheless. Later on, Illidan noticed a Naru's arrival in Shattrath City, and thought they might be a potential threat to his war with the Legion. So he sent Kael'thas and his Blood Elves to take the city. Kael'thas asked if they could have the assistance of his demon hunters, and Illidan told him no.
Okay, that's kind of shitty.
Also remained silent about why he couldn't use them. This pissed off Kael'thas, but he tried to take the city anyway and sent a group of his best men to the city. Only, as soon as the elves got to the city, they threw down their weapons and joined the Naru, because their leader had a vision that the Naru were the key to saving their people. He then sent a message to Kael'thas that he too should join the Naru, but got no reply.
Ooh.
Kael'thas was just the tiniest bit mad that a large portion of his army defected, and asked Illidan to retaliate against the Naru in his place. But Illidan just kind of ignored him, and didn't really do anything or care that Kael'thas had failed. He was too busy with his demon hunters to care about anything else. This act all but convinced Kael'thas that Kil'jaeden was right, and that Illidan didn't really care about the Blood Elves at all.
Okay, stop. Why do I feel bad for Kelthus right now? Like, he's just kind of getting like fucked on every avenue. Like, he's like, okay, hi besties, it's me, Mila. And if you're enjoying today's video, please consider subscribing, okay? Like, please, 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 times 1,000,000,000. I'm like really asking this of you, ne? I'm gonna trust these people now, and they just keep fucking him over again and again and again and again. This is so sad. Why? What? Oh man, I feel bad for him now.
And Kael'thas sought to not allow his men to be used as pawns again, not like what would happen with Garithos, and decided to side with Kil'jaeden. Kael'thas knew he should not trust the Legion, and knew they were ultimately responsible for the Lich King and the destruction of his kingdom, but he also just, like, really wanted to learn more about Fel magic.
Oh my god.
He was a total addict to that stuff, and this was the perfect excuse. So Kael'thas told Illidan that he was going to Netherstorm to try and learn how to siphon the chaotic magic there, and that he would totally return. Illidan, preoccupied with his demon hunters, was like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, and didn't really give it a second thought, and didn't really notice that they never returned until way later. While in
Stop, does Illidan kind of suck? Does he actually kind of suck? What the fuck?
Netherstorm, Kael'thas found the Tempest Keep, which was a super advanced Naaru ship, and overtook it with his newfound Fel magic, and enslaved the Naaru Maru. Kael'thas finally had something to send back to his kingdom, and sent the Naaru, as well as the knowledge of how to siphon magic from things, back to Azeroth, to his people in Silvermoon. Then Kael'thas learned how to store mana from Netherstorm into magic cubes, and sent those back to Silvermoon as well, as alternative sources of powers for the Blood Elves to siphon. Kil'jaeden was all for this, as he had planned on using all of that magic to help summon himself into the world to invade Azeroth.
Ooh.
Back in Silvermoon, though, Lor'themar was growing worried for Kael'thas, and wondered why he'd been away from home for so long. Sure, he had been getting messages from him, but he was doing weird things, and he was entirely on board with siphoning energy from a Naaru. So, some stuff happened, Lor'themar joined the Horde to get allies, his Blood Elves made their way to Shattrath City and found out that Kael'thas had joined the Legion. Then they made their way to Netherstorm to try and put a stop to him, and it was Kael'thas' own Blood Elves who ended up killing him. Officially, anyway. Kael'thas was a raid boss in-game available to both factions in the Burning Crusade, but Kael'thas' death was actually part of Kil'jaeden's plan.
No.
As dead, he could more easily control him, and had his men spirit away his soul into a new body that was 100% loyal to Kil'jaeden and ready to do whatever he needed. So Kil'jaeden sent Kael'thas back to Azeroth to prepare the Sunwell for his arrival. With most of the Blood Elves in Outland, Kael'thas easily invaded Silvermoon and took control of the Sunwell. Then captured both the Naaru Maru and the Avatar of the Sunwell, who had been hidden from him by Lor'themar this whole time, called Anvina. Plus, with the mana boxes he sent previously, he finally had enough materials to create the massive portal needed to bring Kil'jaeden into the world. The Blood Elves warned the Horde about what happened, and together with the Alliance, sent in an attack group to stop Kael'thas in his portal. The Horde was able to put a stop to Kael'thas for a second time, but not before he finished his task. The Alliance tried to stop Kil'jaeden but failed, and it was Anvina sacrificing herself that allowed them to push Kil'jaeden back. Then, Velen used the Heart of Maru, which purified the Sunwell and returned it back to nearly its former glory. So in the end, Kael'thas did kinda provide the fix to his people's mana addiction, just probably not in the way he thought he would. And that's the end of the Villain's Corner segment on Kael'thas. Honestly, before the Illidan novel in Chronicles 3, we didn't really know why Kael'thas turned evil. He just kinda went crazy in the Burning Crusade for no reason, and we had to kill him.
So he did all of this for basically his people then. This is actually really sad. What the fuck? Okay, so ultimately it was all to like help his people with the mana addiction, right? But also he was like getting cucked left and right? I feel so bad for him. No, this was so sad. Aw, it was just a new villain to fill the spot for the like yeah, I guess he was a bad guy, but like at the same time, like he also like did things to, started doing it for his people and then lost the plot. Yeah. This is so sad. He kept ending up with people that messed him over. Illidan is like, okay, Illidan's kind of, everyone in World of Warcraft is kind of throwing for me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, now at this point I'm like, ooh, I don't know a single character who isn't like actively throwing for their team, right?
Would. Update. There was actually some new lore added to Kael'thas after this video first went live. Kael'thas ended up in Revendreth. He was taken by Sire Denathras personally to be experimented on, to amplify his pride to make more anima.
No.
You have to free him in a raid by healing him up. He then helps Revendreth players hunt down Kel'Thuzad, who he finds out is in Maldraxxus, another one of the zones of the Shadowlands. Later on, he teams up with Lady Vash to hunt down some Dreadlords. They talk and wonder about what happened to Illidan together. Vash reminds him that Illidan no longer had a mortal soul. You see, Illidan was never killed and was held captive by Maiev, where he was freed during the Legion expansion. Illidan helped defeat the Legion and is currently alive guarding Sargeras' prison. Later,
what is a heal fate? Do you just have all of your like healers just constantly heal him? But what if you're not a healer? Do you just like chuck like potions at him? His son made him a better man. I think his son did nothing wrong. All he did was like get corrupted, which honestly wasn't his fault. I blame Sylvanas for him getting corrupted because it happened to her and she was like hella traumatized from it. But also she was like, yeah, no, I want a friend, so here my little bucket of sunshine, little golden retriever boy. I'ma corrupt you. Take care of all healers, heal the boss. Ah, okay. Can also help heal the things in the room. Ah, okay. That sounds fun. Was more so, what is a heal? Yeah, I was like, okay, so you basically just keep healing him then. Okay, cool.
Later, Kael'thas learns that Kel'Thuzad was permanently destroyed in the Sanctum of Domination raid.
Hell yeah!
Kel remarks that he was frustrated that he wasn't there to kill him himself. He also remarks that his biggest regret in life was not being there for Silvermoon when it fell, and that it haunted him ever since. Kael'thas was told by the Accuser that getting retribution would only be for himself, not his people who died.
Okay, hold up. I have a question now. So we know that like Arthas and Jaina kind of had like a falling out after he killed like an entire village full of infected people, right? Why didn't Kael'thas just slide into her DMs at that point in time? I mean, hypothetically slide into her DMs at that point in time to just be all like, hey, BB girl. Right? He was busy. Oh, I feel like that'd be like the best time to be all like, hey, how you doing? Right? I mean, I know I'm saying it kind of stupid, but I mean, like, hypothetically, like in the WoW way of being all like, you up,
And that he should seek redemption and not vengeance, as while he committed a lot of crimes in his life, failing to prevent Quel'Thalas's fall was not one of them. She urged him to still repent, but to also forgive himself for letting his kingdom fall. Kael'thas eventually agrees to this, saying that he has a lot of work to do. Kael'thas ended up being an important NPC in the Shadowlands expansion.
Yay!
Not as a villain, but as an ally to the player characters.
Yay!
C'Thun's story starts off the same.
But okay, so now we've got more context on Kael'thas. He wasn't interested in being a rebound. He's better than that. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. When she's vulnerable, not really. It's just more like, isn't that like prime-ish time to be all like, hey Jaina, Uwu, I've liked you for a really long time, and like, I think it'd be like real cool if like, if we did something now that Arthas is like all evil and shit, and he's like low-key like dead. He liked that she hated during the raid. She still has feelings. Oh, you know what? That makes sense. Calendar busy rebuilding Sindraenor, wasn't he? The LDR. It's just the distance was too long, I guess. That's kind of crazy.